Hey, can your mom do it? Welcome to a Hopefulist hot take. So, whenever women say that there's something that they really can't do because of the kids, there's, even talking about something as, general as I can't really go for my MBA right now because I have the kids. I can't meet you for drinks right now because I have the kids. What is the go-to? What is the go-to response to that? Can your mom do it? Can your mom watch the kids? Now, that's the go-to response, especially when we're talking about something long-term. If a woman is talking about working and she'd be like, well, I'll have 2 days where I won't have anybody to watch the kids. And automatically it's, well, can your mom do it? And what this is a way of having men be off the hook from the get-go. Because never once do we say, well, what about his father? What about your husband? What about your partner? We automatically just go to another woman, right? We go to another woman. We don't even consider the fact that a man is perfectly capable of taking care of their child. And that in 2024, a man's job is no more important than a woman's job. Even if you take out the amount of money that they're making, both people need to work. So, who is going to take the hit? Well, by default, it's always the woman. It's always the woman. Because even when we're talking about when the woman can't take care of the child, the next step is to go to that woman's mother. Can your mother watch them? Can your mother watch the baby? We never even consider, can you have her father watch her for a few hours a day? Novel idea. I know. It's unexpected. It's ridiculous to even consider it. But this is the point of the whole concept behind Change the Conversation. We have so many things in our language that are just status quo, that are just default positions that we just go to. I was talking to a friend of mine about this earlier, and I used my go-to examples. Why do we call them single mothers? And it's used in such a derogatory way, right? Well, he comes from a single mother household. Why are we not calling it absentee father households? Because the men are the ones who are not there. And yes, sometimes that is the choice of the mother. The majority of the time, it is the choice of the father to not participate in the upbringing. But yet we look down on the women who stay there, do all of the work themselves, and we, badmouth them. And the outcome that may be what their kids have to face because they had absolutely no help whatsoever. And yes, they can be legally held responsible to contribute financially. But as we all know, that's just part of the picture. That's not even half of the picture. And yet we still use this term, single mothers, like it's some sort of derogatory thing. Just like the go-to is, well, ask your mom. Ask your mom. Everybody says it. I was having a conversation with another friend who was telling me she was out playing pickleball, and she was playing with somebody that's, fairly new at it. And she said that after they had played a couple of games, there was an older gentleman that had come up and started talking to her friend that said, when I first saw you on the court, I thought, oh, she's going to be a weak player. And, you really surprised me. You really, you've really come into your own. So my friend is like, oh, really? Well, we were saying the same thing about you. And he's like, oh, yeah, all right. Yeah. Like, he was like so put off with the fact that women could potentially be having a conversation about his skills. That's not status quo. That's not the default position. The default position is that women are allowed to observe and just freely go up and make comments to women, whether they're nice comments or not. But if you turn it around and do that to a man, ho, 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 let me tell you, they do not like it. They do not like it. And I encourage you to start thinking of ways to come back at people, because I can tell you that when you do, they often have nothing to say when you come back at them. Now, I was playing pickleball myself a couple of days ago, and the one town that I've been playing in just redid their tennis courts because, you know, as much as I know that tennis people hate pickleball, the fact remains there is way more pickleball players than there are tennis players. So while there's a long, huge line of people waiting to get on a court to play pickleball, there's 4 tennis courts that are not in use at all. So what they did is they revamped the whole area, and they made 6 pickleball courts and 1 tennis court. Now, the one thing they neglected to do was put a fence along the perimeter between the 2. So what's happening now is, you know, we've got 6 games going on now compared to the 1 tennis game. And a lot of times the ball is rolling onto the tennis court. And the one time, it was during my game, a ball rolled across the tennis court while they were playing and hit the fence on the other side of them. And the woman walked over, the woman closest to where that happened walked over and was like, "Oh, do you mind?" And the guy grabbed it and he tosses it to her. And she's like, "Thanks." And he's like, "No worries." But then the other guy on the other side says, "Yeah, you know, feel free to walk around and get it yourself," which really irked me. So I looked at him and I said, "Oh, okay, well, we'll remember that if your ball happens to come over here." You know what he said? Absolutely nothing. Because these are bullies. These are people who just want to say something because they think they're cool and they think they can get away with it. And if you just give them a dose of their own medicine, most of the time they're going to stand down. Now, was this guy going to come over and punch me in the face because I said something back to him? No, that's not likely. So I'm not really that worried about putting yourself in physical danger when you say these things. There might be a little bit of verbal sparring, which nobody really likes. Nobody wants to get involved in. It's a hassle. It's stressful. But you know what? It is time. It is time for men to pull their weight. And if they don't want to, then they need to be ridiculed for it. They need to be called out. The next time somebody says, "Can your mother watch the baby?" say, "Why don't you ask if my father or their father can watch the baby?" Or even her father. "Why can't we ask grandpa to do it?" No, we only talk about women when it comes to dealing with children. In 2024, craziness, I tell you, just craziness. So that is what this whole podcast is all about changing the conversation around this default position, the way that we speak that automatically lets guys off the hook and sets women up to take the blame for everything. So if you liked this little Hopefulist hot take, I hope that you will hit that subscribe button and follow along. There is a new episode out every single Monday, and I do have a 15-day challenge to help empower you, build courage and confidence so you can make these comments to people. And not only will you not be afraid, you'll feel really good about it, because I gotta tell you, it feels really good. So follow me, subscribe to the email, check out the website, hopefulist.com, and I will talk to you next week.